What's going on, you knuckleheads? It's Josh here, and today I want to do something a little bit different. I want to talk about League of Legends, the game itself. Now, I don't play League of Legends that often anymore, but I still do love watching it, and I will hop into an ARAM or an URF game occasionally, and as a result, I will keep up to date on the latest goings-on in the patches of League of Legends, particularly when the preseason or any other big change like the durability update comes around. And when I was taking a look at the changes that are slated for Preseason 13, I was kind of disappointed. Not just because Riot is once again tampering with the jungle, which used to be one of my main roles, but also because it's become painfully clear that Riot just does not understand what the issue is with people not wanting to play the jungle. See, in Preseason 13, Riot is going to add all of these new tricks and features like recommended pathing options and give junglers their own little Pokemon, because apparently Riot thinks anybody who enters the jungle just turns into Little Red Riding Hood and just becomes ever so lost and lonely. And while I don't doubt that these are going to be very effective at helping more people get interested in trying the jungle, it hasn't really managed to attack the core reason that jungle is the least popular role right now. And that reason is that the jungle is the role in League of Legends with the biggest disparity between the power that players perceive the role to have and the power that it actually does have. Put it to you another way, most League of Legends players believe that jungle is the most powerful role in the game. It dictates the early pace of the game, you can gank and affect lanes very heavily based on how you path, and if you have a jungler who doesn't understand all that, doesn't understand lane states and lane matchups, doesn't gank and path properly, then your team is as good as dead before the game even really started. And let me be clear, 100%. Jungle is a very demanding role and it requires a lot of game knowledge. However, what is also true is that jungle is a role in which you can feel the most powerless as a player. To demonstrate this point, let me give an example. Being the jungler is like being the dad driving the family station wagon on a road trip. You got two young kids in the backseat who are punching each other, crying and whining, kicking the back of your seat. You got the bratty older kid in the back who just got their license and swears to God that they could drive much better than you if you'd only let them. And then you have your partner in the front seat sitting with you, either just silently suffering along with you or giving you really bad directions. So yeah, you're driving the car, but the question is,
do you feel in charge?
That's the experience of being a jungler, having a million things that you have to keep in your mind, but also having four other people just constantly in your ear telling you what they need, what they want to do, what you're doing wrong, or just giving you a hard time. So when Riot announces these changes coming to the preseason to make jungle more accessible, and they're basically a way to dumb down the jungle by adding the recommended paths and timers and leash ranges, I roll my eyes a little bit, because jungle, yes, it's a hard role, but it's not like defusing a nuclear bomb. You don't need to know advanced calculus to be able to figure out which camps you should be pathing to, which lanes are gankable, or which lanes the opposing jungler might gank. In large part, being a good jungler is about managing egos, getting vision, controlling tempo, and making sure that your team has gotten out of the early game at least in a decent situation. The reason that the jungle role is not fun to play is not because the role itself is incredibly complex or difficult or unforgiving. It's because of the way that other players treat you when you play the jungle. And if you don't believe me, go on Reddit and search for any post about why junglers stop playing the role. It's not because, wow, this role is too hard, I should just play Yuumi because I don't need to have any hands or brain. It's because everything that goes wrong in the game is somehow your fault and you have to fix it. But I want to be a solutions-oriented person here, so I have devised a change that Riot could make that is very easy, that would give junglers a good reason to play the role, would make the role more inviting to new players, and overall just make the power balance between the roles a little bit easier without having to make the junglers relearn their role for the 4th time in 4 years. The answer is quite easy. No one but the jungler gets to talk. That's right, I am suggesting that you remove the text chat box from everybody who is not playing jungle. And I know, laners gonna bitch and moan and complain, but I have to tell my jungler something about my lane so he can properly gank it. No you don't, you're in silver 2, Timmy. You don't know anything about what's going on, you're just begging your jungler to come here because you think that this is a kill lane, despite the fact you're playing Ornn into fucking Darius. Or they might whine, but I might have some important information that my jungler needs to know. Bitch, you can ping everything. You can ping where vision is, you can ping where the enemy jungler is, you can ping their cooldowns, you can ping anything that your jungler needs to know. And Riot has made the ping system even better for this preseason, so you really don't have to fucking type anything. And if you really think that the jungler might have some specific information that's not pingable, well, maybe we could have a system where the jungler could unmute players and let them type if he has a specific question for them. So players would be sort of like chat restricted, that they can only type at a certain amount of time when the jungler allows.
Bitch, you speak when spoken to now.
Obviously, this is all a little bit tongue-in-cheek and sarcastic, but the point in general is that Riot really needs to do a better job of making the jungle feel like an inviting place to play, not because of how the jungle itself operates, but with how people treat the junglers and the power that junglers actually have in the early game. I think that with the new ping system and the new objective voting system, they are adding a lot more opportunities for players to coordinate, short of adding voice chat, which I know is going to be a popular retort for a lot of people, but I personally think voice chat would be the worst thing to happen to this game. Maybe a topic for another video, but the long and short of it, my TLDR is that Riot shouldn't be changing the jungle around trying to get more people to play it, buffing new champions so that the jungle pool is more open. They need to make sure that the players who play the role don't get harassed, yelled at, bullied, and griefed so that they actually want to keep playing the jungle, because it's a fun role when you don't have to listen to anybody else yell at you for not clearing the X camp in time. But what do you guys think? You think these changes to the jungle are going to make the role better? Let me know down in the comments, or what change you would make to the jungle in order to make it feel like a role that's actually worth playing. Until next time, take it easy, knuckleheads.